Knick of
Oh,
Time Show. Go check out that show. It's a great show. It's a great show.
York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
let's go! Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is your main man, the Latin assassin, Lee Escobedo, here, giving you that Knicks talk on the last day of the deadline. It is now 3 p.m. my time, 4 p.m. EST. All deals are done. We might hear a few more trickle out from Shams Charania and ESPN in the next couple of hours or so. But for the most part, I think all the big ones that have been moved and all the ones involving the Knicks have been done. So this is a team that we have moving forward. And this is going to be the NBA landscape moving forward into the playoffs. We are now past the halfway point, and the contenders, they were all involved in the arms race, and many more got better on the deals that transpired today. We did not have a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade. Many people speculated it wouldn't happen. Ryan G was one of them. Me and Fritz were more on the side that it would, but the intel and the reporting changed every single day. They kind of started where the New York Knicks were in first place negotiations, then slowly Golden State took the first place, then Miami took the first place, then up until yesterday, Minnesota was ahead in the trade negotiations. And then by last night, early this morning, most of the intel was signaling, including by Shams Charania, that Giannis would stay put through the deadline, possibly be shut down for the season, and then trade negotiations would reopen this summer. A smart move on the part of Bucks general manager John Horst to try to reap every asset possible when many teams have more draft picks that become tradable this summer, because one season ends and that's when it begins. Then it spans a cachet of movable assets 2 or 3 years into the future. So this upcoming season, summer, the Knicks would then have 2 first-round picks plus the results of that Washington Wizards pick, whether it conveys into a first or if it conveys into 2 seconds. We will know by then the full arsenal of options we have. And it would be interesting, too, if Deuce and Bride, who apparently was dealing with almost a season-ending surgery today, but is reported might be here back in time for the playoffs. His future looks up in the air now, too. Ian Begley also reported that no team in the NBA, as they should, values Mitchell Robinson more than the New York Knicks. What does that say? Without it being extremely explicit, Mitch ain't going nowhere. The New York Knicks are going to do what is possible, whatever that means, moving off of, to re-sign Mitchell Robinson and keeping him here long-term. And who the hell would argue with that after seeing the defense that he played on Nikola Jokic, the defense that he has played continuously in this 8-game win streak and even the losing streak? He was by far the only player that came to play while we were dropping games consistently, rebounding, playing defense, protecting the rim. Mitchell Robinson is the ultimate X factor. And I would actually take hot take alert. Y'all ready? Mitchell Robinson is the best role player in the Eastern Conference. He is the best bench piece in the Eastern Conference. He is the best sixth man in the Eastern Conference. Nobody has a bigger impact than Mitchell Robinson. And I don't know if I've seen someone play defense on Nikola Jokic last night as well as Mitch did since Karl-Anthony Towns in the 2024 playoffs. That's the last time I've seen Joker locked up in the way that Mitchell Robinson was guarding him on the perimeter, forcing him into bad threes, guarding him at the rim. Joker's footwork is incredible. Mitchell Robinson matched him move for move, counter for counter, didn't fall for any of the pump fakes, especially on that last possession, and really won us the game. Listen, y'all, I had a stomach illness last night, did not sleep, stayed up all night writing a what? I was churning out an article on Dalen Terry when it was announced that Gerson Yabusele was finally moved without giving up picks. Leon Madon, man. When they showed that video of him walking out of the arena, I made a sarcastic tweet that he was trying to book Matty B. Raps for Brooke Lopez, for his daughter Brooke Rose's Abu Dhabi watch party. Listen, apologies, Don. You're still the Don, baby. Because you not only did you move off of Gerson Yabusele without adding draft capital and made me waste 4 hours of writing an article that ended up not even being relevant, because then he flipped Dalen Terry, 2 second-round picks for Jose Alvarado. Alvarado, the dog, is back in New York. Hometown guy from Brooklyn's own. Alvarado, now the newest member of the New York Knicks, backup point guard, assuredly full-time backup guard, playing as a Tyler College while Deuce McBride continues to rehab from the abdominal surgery that he's having on Friday, and hopefully bounce back in time for the playoffs. But Leon made a move. Not only did he make a move, he made a brilliant move. And here to talk about it is my main man, Fritz Alessandor, the host of the NBA Economy Show, the Mod God, the Fifth Beatle, the best moderator in these NBA YouTube streets. Fritz, how are you doing?
Doing great. Really, really exciting trade deadline. It's for the builders of the NBA. The trade deadline has become a feature of the NBA. Yeah, there's so much that goes into winning that isn't on the court. And this, if you start to, championships are kind of built around, times like this. So we're going to just kind of look at what's happening and how that impacts our journey to a championship.
Before we start, I want to say 2 things. First one, and most importantly, there is nobody I would rather pod with right now than this man right here, Fritz Alessandor, because this is where his genius really comes in. Not only does he think about the functionality of niche trades, but how it impacts the landscape overall in NBA. And he is the best safeguard to not saying anything or put my foot in my mouth or say anything back ass words, because the financials will definitely be covered under his knowledge of the CBA and where we are in regards to the CBA, which changed after this Jose Alvarado trade. We did get lower beneath that threshold, which means it changes the capacity as well as who we can sign, when we can sign them, and we will get to all of that. I'm going to save the Alvarado breakdown for later, but for right now, the second thing I want to say is let's share this restream. Share the stream. Let a friend know what's going on. Tell your friends and family. We're here as a family at KOT La Familia, talking about the Jose Alvarado news, but also breaking down the entire trade deadline day. I'm feeling good, baby. Spark up the blizzy, pop open some Henny, and let's talk about Jose Alvarado and the New York Knicks. Let me give a quick shout out to the chat. Soul Train 68. Let's go Knicks, baby. Ribby M says, tell that again, please, so Fritz stops trying to trade my man. Please. Listen, I think it all signals point to the Knicks retaining Mitchell Robinson. I can't imagine they're going to trade him based on the play that he has shown in these, not just the win streak, as I said, the losing streak too. Sports Guru 3786. I wish Mitch could start and play heavy minutes. He's so good, it changes his team. Hey, it's lucky that whenever Mitch isn't on the floor, Karl-Anthony Towns is. That's not a bad switch off. Finger red number 1, all truth spoken. 100%, brother. Mitchell Robinson is unbelievable. Mitch is Joker's daddy, says Simiano 55. I think that's Al from Harlem, if I'm not mistaken. That is a hilarious KOT coded comment, and I agree 100%. Hey, man, hit like, subscribe, and share. Please share the stream. It is time for the biggest Knicks family conversation we have had this season, because we have a brand new person in orange and blue. UCD3AD fell to my knees on Walmart when I heard Shamet got traded for Jose. That's why it's important to choose your sources wisely. Not everybody on the internet is your friend, and not everybody on the internet is telling you the truth. Watch out who you trust as sources, because they're not always really sources. Most of the time, they're clout chasers. Prezi the Boss, one of our absolute OGs. Salute to Machine Gun Estelle. And the Mod God, a.k.a. the Mod Father, KOT Mafia. Salute, Prezi the Boss. Great to have you here. It wouldn't be the same without you. Randall 973. Salute Lee. And salute Fritz.
Salute Randall.
Absolutely, brother. And then, man, this move is some BS. I'd rather we have kept Terry. That's an interesting conversation that I'm also going to have a little bit later on. First, let's look over the trades that happened today. Fritz and I are going to give you our top 5 trades that we think really dominate the deadline. Again, Black NATO Ed, salute, Fritz, and my guy Lee. Right back at you, brother. Great to see you here in the chat. Let's talk deadline deals. All right, Fritz, you have your list ready?
Yes, I have my list.
All right.
I thought the Hornets had a great deadline. We've seen over the last year they really tried to change the culture. So Knipple, Brandon Miller, even LaMelo have been like kind of like the big 3 there. Adding someone, add another quality piece, and I think at this point, either LaMelo is going to step up, or if they decide at some point that he isn't the guy, they can easily move forward without LaMelo. So I think they really put themselves in a good position going forward. They're at this spot where they're going from a bad team to a winning team. Like at this point, if they're not a 500 team or better next year, it's a disappointment.
I agree, and I'm guessing that's your number 5, right?
Yeah, I wasn't quite going in order, but like the Hornets were, yeah. What are my top trades?
Let's start there. Let's make that your number 5. I'm going to rank mine. I'm going to start with 5 and move into 1. My number 5 as well is Coby White to the Hornets. The larger context of a trade, the Bulls traded Coby White and Mike Conley Jr. to the Hornets for Colin Sexton, 3 second-round picks, and bum-ass Osman Dane, who came over from OKC. I have called every single OKC bust. I have an OKC friend, and he absolutely can't stand me because I remind him every time when Leon Rose has fleeced Sam Presti. And as I said last pod, when we were doing a breakdown, Leon Rose won that trade where we drafted him and sent him off for 3 first-round picks that we then used, one of them for the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. Agree with Fritz, man. Coby White is someone I want the Knicks to always target because he is someone who is able to score within the flow of the offense. He doesn't necessarily break up offensive rhythm, and he does impact winning. Even though Chicago Bulls are ass, a lot of their constant appearances in the play-in are because of Coby White, who was their first option for the last 3 or 4 seasons. He is one of the NBA's best pull-up three-point shooters. He is a top 3 pull-up shooter. Adding him to the playmaking and the fast-paced offense of the Charlotte Hornets, it gives them someone that when things tighten up in the playoffs, which they will make this season, he can get you a bucket. Downhill, above the break, off the dribble, in isolation. He's an incredible scoring guard that also gives him size, too. He's 6'5". So while Colin Sexton was a bulldog and a veteran presence, Coby White, to me, is a way better option, and that gives him someone who can then play alongside LaMelo Ball or run the offense when LaMelo Ball sits. So that was my number 5. The Hornets getting Coby. Again, the trend of all of our ops improving the deadline, we had to make a move, and damn it, Leon did. All right, Fritz, what is your number 4 best trade of the deadline?
Atlanta getting Kuminga and Buddy Hield for Kristaps Porzingis. Porzingis' health has been an issue ever since last year. And the Atlanta Hawks, we see that they had plenty of forwards. Kristaps Porzingis isn't a center. Like, as much as they try to, because it's Jalen Johnson's team. So having Kuminga instead of Porzingis, I think, is an upgrade. Because just his health is just too inconsistent. And Kuminga has never had that kind of freedom. So putting him in Atlanta, basically he's going to be able to find how good a player is. At times we've seen he looks like someone who could be a future all-star player. And this team seems to play a lot freer. in Golden State, so they might have found like a really good home for him to be on.
Fritz, you and I are seeing eye to eye today. I mean, per usual, I think you and I agree more than we disagree, but I'm so surprised on how aligned we are in these trades. My number 4 is also Atlanta getting Buddy Hield and Jonathan Kuminga. I had never even seen Jonathan Kuminga linked in any reporting or anything I had heard to Atlanta. Very surprising. Most of the conversations for Kuminga had him going to Sacramento because he knew how much Scott Perry coveted him. I also heard some reports that Toronto was interested in him too, but I did not expect him to go to Atlanta because I felt like between Aneto Atundu and Jalen Johnson, that was going to be their front court for the future. But Porzingis is such a great salary dump. I think that's really Golden State's play here is to let that salary potentially expire, re-sign him on a cheaper deal, or use it somewhere this summer in a sign trade. But Buddy Hield, getting additional shooting to a team that really needs that shooting, that opens things up for Jalen Johnson's playmaking. But damn it, Kuminga and Jalen Johnson, the upside on that front court, block buster. 2 guys who can put the ball on the floor, 2 guys who defend at a high level, 2 guys that operate shrewdly and high IQ in the short roll. This is a really creative tandem. And I got to give Atlanta some props, man. I didn't like their roster building during the time that bum-ass Landry Fields was at the GM. But since firing him and moving on, I really have loved the way they built around Jalen Johnson. They've taken some big swings. KP from Boston was a big swing, and they really rerouted him into something that actually is a compatible build for Jalen Johnson. All right, Fritz. Number 3.
Number 3, Boston getting Vucevic. I thought that was a very good pickup. It was like a key pickup because they've had they basically all year been having an extra shooting guard that they pretty much don't want to play, but was kind of too valuable, and they turned him into a much needed center. Vucevic isn't a really good defender, but offensively he would balance the floor a lot more. I think that's probably their best center they've had in a long time.
True.
So so I don't really look at this being a huge. It may help them this year because Boston is in the thick of it, but I think when Tatum comes back next year, and he possibly resigns, that could be a really dangerous team.
Great take. He was right on the peripheral of adding him to my list, but I decided not to in favor of my 3rd pick, which was the Minnesota Timberwolves getting Ayo Dosunmu. For a long time, it was obvious that Mike Conley was washed. And after this last season, his rookie campaign, Rob Dillingham never looked like he could run the point next to Anthony Edwards. He's really, I think, more of a shooting guard. His game is actually more of a small forward, but he's totally undersized for that role, kind of like Deuce McBride. There's a lot of similarities there, but Dillingham is not the shooter that Deuce McBride is, but neither was Deuce early on in his career too. So, but Dillingham, I think moving off of that contract, that's something they got to eat because they paid a future 1st-round pick to San Antonio to be able to Dillingham, but to flip him for a young kid with upside who can play the point. Dosunmu can actually be the table setter and play off ball or on ball next to Anthony Edwards. And again, he's shooting damn near over 40% from 3 on about 4 attempts, sets 4, solid height, good wingspan, can guard up as a defender. I love that move from Minnesota because it finally got their guy, the guard. And if you don't pivot and not get Giannis, they sacrificed. They could have gotten Kobe White. This was a really nice backup plan to be able to lock in Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah, it's like it was a really decisive call by them because usually if something doesn't work and someone is really talented, it's like, hey, we can try to make it work. Keep trying it. But year 2, they figured out this isn't gonna work, and they're very decisive and got someone in the door that fits their needs. So yeah, they must have championship on their minds because if they didn't have championship on their minds, I don't think you would give up on that investment that quickly.
Well said. And Minnesota doesn't necessarily have a track record of being decisive They usually wait and wait and wait and wait, or they don't make any move at all. They're not really the ones that like pushes the button and starts a conversation in trade talks or makes the move before anybody else. This looked like they had this on their board as a backup plan to Giannis, and they got it. So kudos to them for upgrading their backcourt. Number two.
Number two, Triple J. The Triple J trade is probably the shocker of all of them. I thought Triple J could be traded in the last couple of months, and it was something I say maybe the Knicks should check in on. But Utah has kind of been going through the process last year, in the last couple of years, and you just didn't see an end in sight. So for the Utah to all of a sudden at this deadline where nobody saw, saying, hey, the process is kind of over, we're going to shift the gears to winning, was a shocker to me. So Triple J brings a lot of defense. One thing about Triple J, he is not a number one or a number two. And I think in Utah, he doesn't have to be. You have two big-time scorers already there. So they're not going to, like Memphis, his next salary next year would have been too high to have him as like the number one player. But on Utah as a number three, it would have been fun. So that was a great move by Utah.
Excellent pick. And I agree. Not my number two, but I'll get to my thoughts on JJJ here in a minute. My number two was Jared McCain to OKC, and I'm wondering if our number ones and number twos are switched because you haven't mentioned McCain. I know you like that move. The Philadelphia 76ers traded McCain to the Oklahoma City Thunder for a 2026 Rockets first-round pick, which, as we mentioned on the show, that has to be a late first-rounder, right? Probably somewhere between 23 and 30.
It's the last pick.
No,
last pick in the first round, yeah.
And 3 second-round picks. Now, that does give some leverage to Houston to possibly package that and maybe Van Vliet's contract for a point guard upgrade this summer. But as of right now, I'm sorry, Philadelphia. But right now, OKC getting another guard while SGA is kind of out indefinitely with that abdominal injury. Man, pairing him and AJ Mitchell and Tayson Wallace, what a hell of a three-guard potential. McCain is already one of the best shooters in the NBA. Shooting is something has been an OKC weak point. Isaiah Joe is really the only pure sniper they have on their roster. And actually the little used Jalen Williams, J-Will, is probably their second best shooter, but he's not always in the playoff rotation. So to add someone who to come in and fit their zesty culture, that's an archetype that teams don't are able to like pull in and immediately absorb. It takes a really big cachet to go out when you feel like you have a culture fit. And OKC's championship culture, but it's also very zesty too. And so is Jared McCain. So that fits really perfectly. He's going to be in all the TikToks, all the post-game barking. He's going to be perfect for that. So we'll see what happens in terms of their championship repeat. I think the Knicks are going to have something to say to that. But Fritz, what is your number one?
Yeah. I really like that. I really like that trade. Jared McCain, he just came in as a rookie last year and absolutely dominated. When they didn't have who was it? Tyrese Maxey was kind of out last year. And this year he kind of had the broken hand. And he just couldn't find any traction. But if he looks anything like he looked last year, they won the trade. And I don't think many teams would have paid out that return. But at the same time, OKC is playing a different game than everyone else's. So since they're playing a different game than everyone else's, everything's about fit. They're going to see if it fits. If it doesn't fit, they'll move on next year.
Good points. OKC can pretty much outbid anybody on anyone if they really wanted to get involved. They also have very tradable contracts in Lou Dort and iHeart. So yeah, and Jason Wall is still on his rookie scale deal. I 100% agree. Getting Jerry McCain is a very, very, very low risk and extremely high reward. He could potentially tilt a playoff series. So it looks like our number twos and number ones were flipped on the inverse. My number one, you know what? Before I mention it, tell a friend, share a stream. I see the views going up at 241. Let's keep it going. We are talking NBA trade deadline, and we're about to get to the Jose Alvarado and buyout candidates for the Knicks. So get the homies in here. We're having a KOT family meeting between myself and Fritz Alessandro, Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Jazz. Holy hell. In 3 years, Utah Jazz will be a championship contender. I think they're number two now in young cores, right after the San Antonio Spurs. What they needed was a defensive anchor. Walker Kessler has been in and out of trade rumors. They don't really have a point of attack defender. That's not Collier's role. That wasn't Walter Clayton's role, who they did up in this trade. They have Ace Bailey and Marketing as, I think, championship. Eventually, Ace Bailey would be a first option, championship first option. And Marketing can be a championship 2 option. To get JJJ as an anchor and still have picks left over from a Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, and their own, scary hours. That 4-headed beast, 4 7-footers, and Philip Bukowski, Kessler, JJJ, and Marketing is dangerous. I mean, it's actually unbelievable. They're able to get him because JJJ can be the 4, he can be the 5. They can go really big with Marketing at the 3 and Kessler at the 5. The type of lineup matchups, Will Hardy, already a very smart coach. This is going to be his dream in building this roster out and this rotation out to eventually compete for a championship in about 2 or 3 seasons, in my opinion. All right.
Mm-hmm. And the picks they use weren't the greatest picks. And the picks they used weren't their own picks. So over the last couple of years, just building a stockpile allowed them to make that trade that probably a lot of other teams just wouldn't be able to make, just wouldn't be able to justify. They just found the perfect piece for them.
Agree. And the timeline lined up for them on Memphis, too. Memphis obviously is imploding. They kind of signaled that when they got rid of Desmond Bane. That pick haul is the type of haul you want to have when you're rebuilding because it allows you to really build a brand new identity from the bottom up. And I wouldn't be surprised if John Morant is immediately moved this summer once this season is over. I was surprised he wasn't moved at the deadline. I just didn't like his offer. So they're hoping probably to rehab his value a little bit.
They were hoping to get picks
plural
in return, and other teams were actually asking them for draft capital.
Listen, that's what happens when you don't instill discipline and you fire your head coach based on a prima donna first option that doesn't play with the first option, isn't even available like a first option. So.
I really thought that the issue with him was that it looked like he wasn't playing. It looks like he wasn't playing 100%. And I think that's probably worse than someone who's just having a bad year. He wasn't just having a bad year. He looked disinterested. And it looked like he didn't want to play basketball. And I think people looked at that and they're not going to take that and give you picks for it.
Well, speaking of picks and guys not being moved, the Giannis saga is officially over for this season. It will absolutely pick back up the day that free agency starts this summer. Giannis stays in Milwaukee. Looks like he's going to be shut down for the season from the reports that are being flooding social media now. Fritz, were you surprised that Giannis wasn't moved, and where did you think he was going to end up if he was traded?
As this morning, I thought he would have been moved to like Miami or Minnesota. I think Milwaukee just missed out on their best haul. I think they probably think they'll get better offers this summer. I don't think so. Because I think Giannis may not come out and say something, but I think his preference will be clearly known this summer. And then I don't think that haul that they think they were getting is coming.
That's interesting. I don't know if I agree. The Knicks have definitely been testing the market for Cat's value. They've talked to a lot of teams on Bridges and Cat. That's also been clarified and confirmed by the reporting. I think they have a kind of an idea of what their worth is right now. And if they win championship or make the finals, it has to be the worth has to rise coinciding with the Knicks rise, the team success. So if we go to the finals and lose, or we go to the finals and win, both those pieces I think could easily be flipped for the pick return, plus the two that come into play for the Knicks to give the Milwaukee a pretty good package.
Yeah.
Pause for Giannis at that point. I think they know that, and I think Giannis must have said something. Maybe always there was so much varying and conflicting reporting that was going on over the course of the last 4 days. Maybe Giannis really did say, "Wait till the summer because I want to go to New York." That hasn't been confirmed or denied. We don't know.
Yeah, I think at the deadline, Knicks possibly could have involved multiple starters. This summer, I don't think the Knicks are gonna. I don't think the Knicks are going to involve multiple starters.
Well, if they want Giannis, they would have to because they don't have a salary match without multiple starters being included, whether it's a combination of Hart and Bridges' new extension or of a Cat contract, which satisfies it almost a 1-for-1. So if they want Giannis, they have to trade a starter at the least.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Want to talk about a few trade candidates, some of which have already been bought out, and one who hasn't yet, but I'm expecting him to. Listen to the three that have been bought out already that we know 100% for sure. And if the Knicks are targeted. Now, I'm going to be honest, disclaimer, these buyout candidates are some of the best ones that have been made available yet. And these three are not hypotheticals. They have been bought out. They're already available to be picked up. I'm glad I have Fritz here to be able to confirm or deny whether they're even available to the Knicks. I looked at their contract already, and all three were making below the 14.1 mid-level exception. But based on where we are and how much we have to offer, I'm so happy I have Fritz to be able to verify that if the interest is real or could even be worth celebrating. My first one that I want to get to, Haywood Highsmith, former Miami Heat, was traded to the Brooklyn Nets and cut. He is a 6'5" small forward. Miami played him a lot at power forward when he was on that team next to Bam Adebayo. This season with Brooklyn, he averaged 5 points a game, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, shooting 45% from the field, 37% from three. Pretty good switchable wing. He's known for kind of a 3-and-D. He is a little bit small on the smaller side. He's Shamet size, but light set Shamet, and I would say even to a higher degree, he's able to guard up. Also has, with the Miami Heat team, a lot of playoff experience. He was on there in the playoffs with them 4 times and played minutes, especially the last 2 times he made the season, the 24 and 25. He was playing over 20 minutes a game in the playoffs. And the three-point shooting has been overall pretty good. He averages 40% from 3 in the postseason, which is higher than his regular season average at 38. So Haywood Highsmith is someone who was only making $5.6 million. So he does qualify as someone that we would be able to sign. Do you think that we would have the cap space to sign him if we wanted to, Fritz? And how do you feel?
Yeah. Right now, the Knicks have enough cap space to sign a 15th player. So we're not talking about cutting a player to bring someone on. So the Knicks currently have 14 players. So the space between what we are under the second apron isn't $2.2 million is the number we usually think about when we think about NBA minimums is $2.2 million. But since we're over half the year is done, at this point, like the year is prorated. So you don't have to get $2.2 million worth of space. Right now, the Knicks are about $1 million with our last trade, and it's enough to sign a minimum. So basically, if it's a minimum contract, the Knicks can sign just about anybody as long as their last contract was under 14.1 million.
Excellent information. Y'all hear that, man? This is why Fritz is the mathematician here. That is incredible. The pro-rate amount is an incredible caveat because it really expands the pool of players we can get. And Haywood Highsmith is someone that we could target that would probably have cost us a first-round pick if Brooklyn and them would have gotten the negotiations, because that damn Knicks tats is very real when it comes to dealing with the Nets, a.k.a. Mikal Bridges. Fritz, how do you like that Haywood Highsmith is a 6'5", someone who can play bigger than his size? Is that someone you're interested in, or do you have a different positional need you're looking at?
Yeah, I Yabusele is the one who went out the door, and I know DOR is kind of the guy who will take. We're hoping DOR just kind of steps in to where he was supposed to be. But I would like someone who can play the 3 and the 4. At 6'5" is not ideal, but Haywood Highsmith is a quality player, so I wouldn't be like opposed to it. But ideally someone larger.
Okay. Let's talk about someone with an extra inch to their height. Super pause. And I will get to the comments chat. I'll get to the comments in the super chat here in a second. I see them. We appreciate you. I want to get through this free potential buyout market before I touch on Jose Alvarado and the trade, just so we can have an end with a really nice conversation on our brand new edition, Jose Alvarado. So I see you guys, but let's do this buyout market first before we move on. All right. Who has the extra inch? Pause. That man is George Niang. Never been able to pronounce his entire name. It is a mouthful. Another pause, my lord. I love this option. He was waived. I think he was playing for Minnesota or Milwaukee. One of the two teams. They waived him. So him, like Haywood Highsmith, has already been cut and is open to the market. And he was only making this season when I can't remember what team he was originally for. Memphis. $8 million. So he is someone too that we would be able to sign for a pro-rate amount. The stats are decent. A 6'6" power forward. Majority of his time spent playing the 4 spot. This season, he was averaging 7 points, 2.5 rebounds, 1 assist, 45% from the field, 40% from 3, 85% from the stripe, and a very, very interesting 16 win share, which is a very high number for players that are only playing his allotted minutes. And with that into the bench, he's high impact. Not only is he high impact, he has a lot of playoff experience as well. And we know that Leon targets guys both in trades and in buyouts who have a playoff resume. He's been to the playoffs 6 seasons with 3 different teams. Every single time he was in the playoffs, he was playing double-digit minute productions, even if it was a first only 1 series or 5 series. And for his career in the playoffs, he shoots 34% from 3, 39% from the field. Not great. 94% from the free throw line, while giving you career average stats of 4.4 points, 1.5 rebounds, and about an assist a game. I'm interested in this because he's a dog. I always reflect on that time when Quentin Grimes was lighting up his team, and he got in his face and said, if Joel Embiid was here, you would be in the corner. Basically signifying that you aren't who you think you are. And this season, what's happening? Joel Embiid is back, and Grimes is back in the corner. He's not on ball, initiating pick and roll as a ball handler anymore. He's setting screens and filling the corners for those catch and shoot shots. So I'm not saying that he's Lou Dort, Alex Caruso. He ain't one of those guys, but I like him for someone who's at the end of the bench to break glass if necessary, who can come in if Shamit's having an off shooting night or Tyler Collett's having an off shooting night. You can kind of put him in as a catch-all who can play defense, guard up at sets, got decent wingspan, and a lot of playoff experience. Does he move a needle more or less for you, Fritz?
No, it sounds like a good fit. That sounds like it's a good fit. Yeah. Well, right now, like the 15th guy on your bench isn't going to be it's going to be your nightly, not going to be playing nightly. So you need someone who's going to be okay being in that 15 position. So some of these guys is like, hey, they look. This is the best player on this list, but some of those players on that list want to actually play every night a certain amount of minutes.
Yeah, good
So,
point.
Seems like a good fit.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying these guys are going to come on and immediately be in the rotation. I don't think that either Haywood or Dane, if that's how you pronounce it, Niane, would be in the rotation. I think they would probably have to earn their way, or they would just be like an emergency pressure valve, release valve, if someone got injured or was having an off night. But you do want a dog. You want someone with playoff experience in the bench. Otherwise, you're looking at someone like Batum Dadier or Diawara with no playoff experience. I can't see Mike Brown trusting those guys to come in and be part of a substitution pattern in a series when we need someone that can have a little bit of offense off the bench. So this is why we're going bottom of the barrel, but I think Leon is going to be interested. However, the last name is someone that Leon has already checked on. It's already been reported on Twitter from various sources that the Knicks are one of the teams interested in signing Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas, even though he's averaging 16 points this season for the Brooklyn Nets, was cut about 20 minutes ago and is now a free agent. This is very interesting. With the Knicks signing Jose Alvarado, you're like, do you want to add another undersized guard, especially one who kind of had a bad attitude with the Brooklyn Nets? But to me, it's very low risk. If it's a prorated 1-year deal, why the hell wouldn't you make that call? If it works, it's a Jared McCain type situation in New York. If it doesn't, cut him and let him walk. He would have to be on eggshells, personality-wise and fit-wise, if he came in here and tried to make it work, because we're trying to win a championship. There's no time for losers. If you want to come in here and be a selfish bum, we'll see your ass out the door. No one's going to have time for that shit. So to me, the best case scenario for him, he blows the other two guys or anyone that we've mentioned out the water, because this season, he's still giving you 16 points a game, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, a awful 40% from the field for a guard, and a kind of disappointing 33% from the three-point line. But, last season was his breakout year when he was averaging 24 points. The season before that, where Brooklyn averaged 23 points. He's a career 34% shooter from the three-point line. He's been in the playoffs, but didn't really play during the time that Kevin Durant was on the team. So he's mostly been leading bad teams, inflating big stats, right, on a team that was going nowhere because he had the ball in his hands all the time. He's not a great efficiency shooter, but he is someone that, if it worked, wow, it might make Deuce McBride expendable. What do you think, Fritz?
Yeah, he's someone that the Knicks have always had interest in over the last few years. When it didn't quite look like the Nets wanted to give him the money that he wanted, the Knicks have always inquired on him. So this isn't like a shock, or the Knicks are just looking at an opportunity. The Knicks have had interest over the last couple of years in him. So it's one of those things, like, it may not be ideal this year, but it's something that can work long term. And then if it's gonna work long term, you make do for now. And if a player knows that, hey, this situation is gonna change, they most likely would put up with a situation that usually probably isn't ideal for them.
There's the optics would help his value tremendously. First of all, if he's on a 1-year deal and he actually impacts winning, he cracks the rotation and he plays in the playoffs and he helps us win a championship, his value would never be higher. His value then would be higher than when he averaged 24 points in the Nets last year, just to miss the play in. His value would skyrocket if he actually impacts winning toward a championship. None of those shooting splits would matter. So to me, I would absolutely take the flyer on him as a 15th man, have very high standards on his behavior and how he meshes in the locker room, and cut him at the first sign of dissonance. But I'm absolutely on board. Fritz, would you take a flyer on him?
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%. Especially if it's prorated with the deal. He was on a vet minimum, wasn't he? Or the MLE? Bro, it's super cheap.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's hit the chat is ready to talk about the obvious. So let's get into it. as excited as we were, and I'll be honest, I was excited when the Knicks trade Gerson Yabusele for DeLon Terry. DeLon Terry was somebody that, as Papa Left on Twitter, have been tweeting about for about a month, was someone that was very gettable because he made less than Yabusele's salary, which not only the trade would make sense to add wing depth, but would put us below, even further below the second apron. He was still able to do that in the Alvarado deal. Terry, 6'6", solid defender. I wrote a whole Substack article on him last night and his point of attack and deflections and steals and ability to dart up. But it seems like that was just the first move that would lead to a second move to bring Jose Alvarado home to New York to play for his beloved New York Knicks.
Yeah.
Let's go! The Puerto Rican dog is back in New York playing for the Knicks. Listen, Alvarado is someone that everyone on the KOT panel has wanted on this team for a long time, including my main man Fritz and including me. Listen, you know the Latin assassin wants another Latin assassin on the New York Knicks. How can you not? This guy is a dog. And what I love the most about him is he brings that feisty mentality that we have needed since Leon Rose took over this team. For some reason, he has went after nice Boy Scouts, and that's great, right? OKC has Boy Scouts, and they won a championship, right? Denver has mostly had Boy Scouts. They won a championship, but we really need someone that would stand up for their teammates, specifically Cat, and be able to get into a two-man game offensively and defensively without hemorrhaging point of attack defense. That is Jose Alvarado. So after trading DeLon Terry today for Jose Alvarado, we now have our backup point guard of the future, and it came at the best time because it was also announced about an hour later that Deuce Bride will be out for most of the regular season with a abductor injury, and he's going to have season surgery tomorrow on Friday. Now, is he back or not? We don't know 100%. But we need Alvarado now more than ever. It also means that Tyler Cole is going to stay in the rotation. So you're going to see a lot of Cole and Alvarado paired together, and that pretty much signals the end of Jordan Clarkson's time in New York. He'll either be waived or bought out or just stay on the bench and maybe use him as a break glass scenario in the playoffs. So before I hand over to Fritz, I do want to read the you know what? I'm going to hand it to Fritz, and then when he's done, then I'll read the 2 super chats. Go ahead, Fritz.
Yeah, very excited. He's someone I've wanted for like a long term. Like when you're able to get a guy and you're able to like put him in pen on the roster, as not like a temporary fix, but a long term fix, that's a big deal. So he affects the culture of the Knicks in a positive way. We know the Knicks at times this year have looked kind of lifeless. That's not Jose Alvarado. Like, or effort has been an issue. That's not Jose Alvarado. Like, Jose Alvarado is a guy who's gonna pick you up. Who's gonna pick you up as soon as you inbounded the ball.
Yep.
So like that energy, there's not too many players. We haven't had a player with that type of energy in a while. And it's going to be nice to have someone who has like that type of energy. And I think the fans are going to love it because we haven't had, outside of Josh Hart hustles.
Yeah.
There's no one with that type of energy on the Knicks.
Yes. The last time I feel like we've had a point guard like this was Nate Robinson.
Yes.
Where he was undersized. He was very good defensively, maybe a little overrated defensively. I think Jose Alvarado is a little overrated defensively as well. One-on-one defense. Steals, deflections, elite. One of the best in the NBA, but also had that gritty dog mentality. Now, Alvarado is not the athlete that Nate Robinson is, but he is a better shooter. He's not an elite shooter, but he's a better shooter than Nate. But I love the personality. Adding that personality archetype to this team is exactly what we've needed. Yeah,
absolutely. I think for the fans, it's gonna be fun for the fans. I think like there's like in there are some like John Starks has a certain type of energy where the fans love him. I think Alvarado's like a player you can love that player. Like Yeah, I think he's gonna be a Knick for at least the next 3 years.
Agreed. Let's get to these super chats because they're all about Alvarado, which is why I wanted to save the Alvarado combo for last. And now we can talk about the super chats. Brother BKL Sport Entertainment Show. Great to have you here in the chat. And thank you very much for the $5. The money that we've gotten from these past couple of trade deadline shows really are all going toward paying for our StreamYard subscription. Jay Ellis's verification subscription on Twitter, and also enhancing our backgrounds with lighting and cameras and background flags and posters. It's very important, and we really, really appreciate it because it really does go a long way. We're a small entrepreneur unit, and if you guys didn't help us out, we would all be paying out of pocket for everything. So thank you very much. Again, he gives a $5 super chat. What's your reaction for Jose Alvarado on our team? You like the move or you don't feel it? I love it. Fritz does too. To me, this was a great move, not only a necessary one when Leon Madon held and hid the Deuce Bride injury information to help his leverage in getting Jose Alvarado, which if New Orleans would have known that, it could have cost us more than 2 second-round picks. So that was shrewd move, and he's been notorious for doing that type of thing. He's learned his lesson as an agent, knowing how that can impact trade negotiations to only get Alvarado for a player that is essentially the Gerson Yabusele role. And 2 seconds, I've seen Jose Alvarado tilt play-in games and a playoff series. Jose Alvarado is a dog, and he always plays better in the spotlight in the playoffs than he does in the regular season. He is someone that is going to make Madison Square Garden blow the roof off the arena when he gets that game-clinching steal or has a charge that tilts the fourth quarter momentum. He is absolutely a dog and someone who defends his teammates. And after that fight that happened this season, we got to have someone who's willing to throw a punch on this team that's not a core starter, who you can kind of risk having that type of interaction if it really shows the other team we're not a bunch of Boy Scouts you can push around. You hit us, we're going to hit back. And in some cases, we're going to hit first. So again, I hope that answered your question. Appreciate you. Another $10 super chat. Let's go. Brother, man, great to have you here. Not sure if you've subscribed, but everyone in here, we got almost 400 people here in the chat. Please continue sharing the stream. It's free. Doesn't even cost $1. Just hit that share button and let people know to get in here. We are having a conversation. We've talked about Knicks buyout candidates. We talked about our top 5 trades. Now we're talking about Jose Alvarado on the Knicks. Please let your friends and family know. Bring them in here. We're having a family combo on Alvarado. He follows it up with, exactly. Alvarado was a right move to our team. We definitely need a backup for defense. And of course, it's such bad news for Deuce's injury. We definitely need luck, but Alvarado is 100. I agree, bro. It's so cheap. He was one of the most impactful players on. If you really thought about who impacted winning on New Orleans, he was top 5 on that team. Not going to go as far as a top 3, but he was the most impactful bench player and the most impactful guard for many seasons in a row on that squad. And he really developed. He was beloved by their fan base. I wonder how they feel about getting Terry and a couple of second-round picks. But listen, man, to me, Dan Alvarado is massive. Let's see what some of the comments say. NickYat 7268. Not now. We have enough small guards. I'm assuming he's probably talking about maybe Haywood Highsmith or maybe Cam Thomas. Fritz, I'm excited. Me too, brother. We got NickYat Alvarado, career 35% from 3. That's decent. I think for a backup point guard, I'm okay with that. I wonder what DeLon Wright's number and Cam what's his name? Cam Payne's numbers were last year. I'm assuming they're probably a little bit around that too. Yeah, Terry can ball too, but to get Alvarado was key, especially with the Deuce injury. I agree. I liked the DeLon Terry move. I would have been totally happy if we would have kept Terry because of his defense. He's defense first. But the Deuce news made this essential. And Leon knew this. Once the Deuce injury is going to be extended to a couple of months, you have to get another guard in here to help with the playmaking and help with the defense. Did Robert end up with a small guard? Agree. I mean, we still need size, right? How do we address that? It's going to have to be the development of Muhammad Diamara. I think that's the only move that you can do. Miggy Pim, I haven't seen you in the chat before. Hope if you subscribe, if you like the content. If you don't, all good. I understand. We got Timu Devo. Now we need a bid off the trash heap. We'll see what Leon does. There's not a whole lot of really quality bids. I think Chris Boucher was waived today as well. That's someone that Leon has checked in multiple times when he was in Toronto. And he ended up signing with Boston, but I know Leon was interested in signing him. Maybe he's the option we get. My ticket right now would probably be punched for Cam Thomas just because of his ceiling, man. The ceiling is, man, unbelievable. GTA to the Knicks. Amen. Absolutely, brother. I'm really, really, really interested to see if he plays in Detroit. That would be massive. And his first game in the Garden, bro, man, that's going to be unbelievable. Building Blocks 6762, good to see you in here again. You've been here for every single trade deadline show. Does Alvarado want to come home? I thought I heard he didn't want to be traded from New Orleans. I don't know, man. I'm sure Leon backdoor channels between him and World Wide West, they got to feel a temperature for. Go ahead.
He's always like playing in the Garden.
Yeah.
Like you'll see the video. I remember that game in 2022 where he killed us that game. And then I guess his because he's always been like a low salary player the whole time he's been in New Orleans, and his teammates bought him a whole bunch of seats for his family to come, and he had a great performance at the Garden. And he said he's always wanted to play at the Garden. Like he's definitely like grew up a Knicks fan. He likes the Garden.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a sentiment that's probably shared by Alvarado and his whole family. To be able to play in front of your family, it's something that like every guy who's from New York and they come to MSG, it just like Marbury, right? It means so much more. I would start Shamet. That is something I said last year, and all the washed out boomer on Twitter, the date keepers and heavy hitters, they all roasted me because I wanted Shamet to start, and now look at Shamet. I would actually start Shamet over Josh Hart too, but it's not my decision to make. Over Clarkson, Clarkson's starting right now. But in my opinion, I think Josh Hart's going to be the long-term starter once he returns from his ankle injury. Yeah, I think that's an option. I think if you want a bid man, he's probably the best bid man on the market right now that's been waived. If Kyle Anderson gets waived, I'm 100% on board. You guys know about it. I did a whole 10-minute monologue on Kyle Anderson. So to me, absolutely, man. If Kyle Anderson's not available, I think Boucher is a smart, logical person that we could go after. Coach wants to keep Shamet and Mitch off the bench in their roles. I agree. I totally agree. That's why we saw Clarkson start to try to advertise him and his value before the deadline. I think it didn't really help his value. His defense, the effort was there, but you got to contextualize that effort in that he's trying to save his job, and that's not what he's been given his whole career. So, in my opinion, it was kind of a moot point. Lee and Fritz, is Chris Boucher getting waived by Utah, and is he available for us to sign? Yes to both. He's already been.
Yeah, they said he's going to be let go.
Nurican 7126, an OG, a vet, a VIP. Pass on Cam Thomas. Pass on however you pronounce his name, Naane. Fair. Listen, that's fair. I would love to hear in who you would like with that 15 slot. Let me know. We'd be happy to discuss it. Appreciate that. Light skin Deuce. That's hilarious. Long-time subscriber, love a KOT. Oh, I apologize then for the misinformation that I said. I did not know long-time subscriber. Great to have you, and glad to have your input. Please let me know. Would love to hear who you would want to sign with that 15 spot. Soul Train 68, Boucher, and then wait for bid Al Horford. Ooh, Al Horford? Wait from Golden State? I mean, I don't know why they would do that. Maybe that's why they went out and got KP. They feel like that Horford can't fill the role they need. I don't know. I would definitely agree, though. Give me Al Horford over.
Yeah, they also just let go of what was it? Travis Davis. So I'm not sure if he would be moved at this point.
Prezi Boss, good to see you, brother. Thank you for roasting me for being the Tina Zest. It's all in good fun, man. The Utah Jazz plan to waive Chris Boucher. A lead source told Hoops Hype. Boucher would have the opportunity to sign with a playoff team and expected to draw interest. 100%, yeah. And he gave his stats as well: 9 points, 5 rebounds in his 9-year NBA career, and a former teammate of OG Anunoby and a champion as well. He was like the longest tenured member and the last man standing from that championship team, 2019 Raptors. So interested. Randy.
Multiple positions. Yeah.
Yeah. He can play a little bit of a 3, a lot of the 4, some 5. So that's what Yabu played, right? So if you think about Yabu replacements, size and role wise, Boucher is the obvious choice in terms of the guys who have been waived, and Leon has checked in on him at least twice that I'm aware of from my sources. Randall 973. If we can waive Clarkson, I would love to get Cam Thomas on the Knicks, bro. 100%. To me, the upside is it's a home run. To me, it's Jared McCain level upside. If he buys in, it's elite, man. And I think he did play. He played with Mikal Bridges too, so no one would know his locker room personality better than Mikal Bridges. Hey, man, let's ask Mikal. Is he a good player? Is he a good addition to the team? No one knows more than the best player on the team at that time in Bridges. Warriors.kp because he has no contract. Yeah, for sure. It could be a salary dump. But, man, they did trade Kamingo just for a salary dump? Whew, man. Maybe says, waiving players prevents us from signing anyone. We had to buy out players to create enough apron space to sign multiple. I'll let Fritz, I'll let you follow up with that. What do you think?
We can't just waive players because they're guaranteed. So you have to pay their salary. So waiving players isn't going to work. Leon does have some back channels. He can put somebody on waivers and someone picks them up and they can take the salary from us. And that's a possibility. So if you do have someone like Clarkson that another team would definitely want, that's something that could happen. But it would have to work through waivers, not just us waiving a player. And if he goes to waivers, you still have to pay them and they still go in the books.
Gamer Channel, Lee Escobedo, I would get both Boucher and Nain. Both moves would be the best option for us. I think my preference would be Boucher and Cam Thomas if I could have any of the two guys that have been bought out thus far. Buyouts count toward the cap? Yeah, for sure. Unless they're signed, I think, if they're signed like within a week or within a couple of days or something. Isn't that right, Fritz?
What was that? Could you repeat that?
Like if someone is bought out, isn't there a period where if they sign with another team, then it doesn't count against our cap?
Oh, no. If they're picked up off waivers, it's like 24 hours. So, like, anybody, like, any team can just, like, yank the contract. So they're like, we're taking over the contract. So if they do that, the Knicks can get away with doing that. But the Knicks can't waive someone, and then if they go through that process, that wouldn't be good for the Knicks.
Gotcha. Well, Alvarado, man, 6 feet tall, from Brooklyn, played the Christ the King in Queens, New York. Been in the league now for 4 years this season, 41 games so far, averaging 8 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 42% from the field, 36% from three, 83% from the line. Love that. 54% effective field goal, a PER of 11, which is about on point for backup guards. And let's see how many minutes he's playing as well. He's averaging 22 minutes here. He's definitely not going to get that between him and Kolek and Brunson dominating that guard spot. I think you will see him play some of the two. You might even see him play a little bit of a 3 in the 3-guard lineups that Mike Brown has shown to love so much. I think he'll average somewhere between 12 and 14 minutes here in New York, which would be a career low. But hey, if it wins a title, who gives a damn, right? I'm sure he would even agree with that too. If the title is all that matters, and winning that in his hometown would be extra special for him as well. So to me, the deal, getting off Gerson Yabusele without attaching a pick, was one of Leon's best moves, I think, because if you think about the Kemba Walker deal, he had to give up a first to get off Walker to Charlotte, and that first ended up becoming Jalen Duren. So you wanted to avoid that situation at all costs, right? Even though that pick wouldn't be, if we did have a good one, we didn't have a first, so it wouldn't end up being a lottery pick, right? Like Duren was. But nevertheless, not having to use a pick to get off Yabusele, where every single reporter, including Fred Katz and Ian, said it's going to take at least 1 second, at least, to get off Yabusele, and it didn't. Wow. We have a friend in Chicago now. It's important to remember that.
I'm pretty sure there's a wink, wink, you owe me a favor type thing.
I'll take it. During the championship window, I will take it, right? After that, we can talk then. And then to only send out 2 seconds and no rotation players or young players, to not have to give up Kolek, to get Alvarado, which everyone kind of thought, worst case scenario, you give up Kolek to get Alvarado. That sucks because now you're giving up one guy with all this talent for someone who kind of has hit his ceiling already. We have both now. Not only do we have both, they're both healthy and can play together in the backcourt to prime themselves for this championship run. Ooh, buddy. Let's go. I love it, man. Leon Vadon, this is the best move he's made, I think. The biggest fleece that he's done since OG. This is the absolute best move.
Yeah, and I think the Alvarado situation is kind of unique because a lot of people would like to have Jose Alvarado, but they look at Jose Alvarado as a rental. Like he has another year player option. The reason why New Orleans would have gotten rid of him is he was gonna take his player option, opt out, and he deserves more money. He's deserved more money for a long time. But with the Knicks, he may just opt in next year, and then the Knicks may have a new contract with him. Kind of familiar, kind of similar to what we saw with Josh Hart. So he may actually give us a little help if we're going to try to save Mitch, and then take care of his contract later.
Good point. And I'll read something that was in my Substack article. If you haven't checked it out, I'm going to drop it here in the chat. I wrote about both the Dalen Terry. I stayed up all night writing about Dalen Terry last night, but I've had a draft of the Jose Alvarado ready to go in case he was traded. And so I was able to post that immediately after the trade. And I'll read this. This is something that's at the end of the article. Alvarado's $4.5 million player option gives the Knicks flexibility, regardless of what path he chooses. If he picks up the option, they remain comfortably positioned below the second apron while maintaining playable depth. If he declines, they retain his full bird rights and can negotiate from a position of control. That optionality is key if the Knicks are serious about positioning themselves for a star-level acquisition that would hard cap them once the deal is done. In that scenario, depth on small functional contracts like Alvarado fits cleanly into their future, especially during a championship run. Nabbing Alvarado now turns a non-playing slot into a rotation-capable guard without forcing a long-term decision. So a lot of pros. This was a Brock Aller, Leon Rose special. I think both of them really went into it and used both their brain power and specific skill sets to make this deal happen, to understand the ramifications of this deal. Listen, one of the things we're not great at and haven't been great at is like playing our guards being able to play passing lanes and navigate screens. Alvarado is one of the best in the NBA at both those two things. The screen navigation is going to be essential. While our best screen navigator in Deuce Bride is out into the playoffs, we instantly get someone who, in my opinion, is even better than him at navigating screens. Alvarado averaged over 3 steals per 36 minutes as a rookie. And across his 5-year career, he's at 2 steals per 36 minutes, which if you pair that with his 3% steal percentage, that's like top of the league percentile from point of attack defenders. So we're getting an absolute dog and someone who can defend the point of attack, again, which is absolutely essential for us to maintain that role while Deuce Bride is out to injury. All right, man. 410 the chat. Appreciate y'all. I hope that the information, the feedback is what you guys were looking for. We started the conversation off kind of going through our top 5 trades for this trade deadline. We talked about Kobe White to the Hornets, Ayo to Minnie, Buddy Hield and Kuminga to Atlanta, Vucevic to Boston, McCain to OKC, and Jaren Jackson Jr. to Utah. Then we looked at all of the free agent possibilities that we could sign, guys who have been traded or are now available for us to sign. Haywood Highsmith, George Nain, and me and Fritz's personal favorite, Cam Thomas. Again, Fritz and I seen eye to eye on these potential moves. I think Cam Thomas would be, you get Cam Thomas on a waiver wire deal, this trade deadline already surpasses what he did in the summer. I would actually average out Leon Rose's total grade for moves to be a B if we're able to get Cam Thomas in a prorated deal and then Alvarado for 2 seconds. That would be unbelievable. What do you think, Fritz?
Yeah, it's an absolute. He's come through more than I thought it was. In the last 48 hours, I thought the Knicks were going to deplete their like cache of second round picks, and that wasn't the case. So
agreed. I think they had 9, now they have 7, I believe.
yeah.
Prezi says, "Oh shit, didn't know it was Zubac from Matherin." Lee's voice, "Let's go!" Listen, I told you all of our ops improved. That was a great trade. The first round picks, one of them is protected, but the 2031 is unprotected. That's going to be a really valuable pick. Who knows what happens to the Pacers? But I think in the next 2 years, the Pacers have a chance to win a chip. In my opinion, Zubac is better than Miles Turner. To have Zubac and also have Jared Huff, who's been incredible off the bench for them, that's a great 1-2 punch center rotation, the best 1-2 punch they've had. And I thought Turner and Isaiah Jackson was actually pretty good too. They had, what's his name? What's that big tall guy who shoots threes? I can't remember his name.
Isaiah Jackson.
No, not Jackson. The other guy they had that came in and killed us.
Yeah.
Oh, what is his name?
I know it was with a B or something.
Yeah, it does start with a B. His name is escaping me. And he's not on the Pacers anymore. He's somewhere else. Anyways, This is a great center rotation for them. And I think Zubac's going to be great. He's elite in pick and roll. Who else is elite in pick and roll? Tyrese Halliburton. All their guards are really good in pick and roll. So I think he's going to thrive with them. He can't hit threes like Turner did, but oh, man, he is so good around the rim. Thomas Bryant, thank you, Dame Richard. Yes, Thomas Bryant was the one who came in and torched us in that playoff game. Jonathan, what's up, Jay Ellis, man? Great to see you, brother. Glad to know you're in the chat, hanging out, having fun. Thank you again, Jay, for letting Fritz and I host this and trusting us to hold down the fort. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, breaking down the Jose Alvarado, what it means for the Knicks, why Leon Rose absolutely cooked in this deal, but also the options we have moving forward, because I don't think Leon's done. I do think he is going to sign someone with that 15 spot, and I think he's going to do it sooner rather than later. And I really hope, now that we know he's checking in on Cam Thomas, I hope he takes a flyer. It really depends on Mikal Bridges. Do you sign off on it or not, bro? Because no one knows him better than you on the team.
No, I really think he's gonna take her opportunity. I think Leon Rose, he knows the business and he knows how to talk to players. He's gonna present this as a real opportunity for him, like for him to be on a winning team for like the first time in his career will be a change, and that's just gonna rub off on him. That reputation, that Knick reputation, is gonna rub off him. If you do well in New York, any other team will take you because they know you can pretty much hack it anywhere. So like him having a half a season in New York, he could write his ticket anywhere else, or the Knicks may have something in the future for him.
Agreed, man. I 100% agree with you. I think, again, if he wins a championship or they even make the finals and he is an impactful part of that, he's actually able to enhance and impact winning on that level. His value will be 10 times higher than it was scoring 24 points for a dead last bottom feeder net team. Like, that's the type of player guys want to sign as their sixth man or potentially starting guard. Like, come on, Cam. Man, come to New York. You don't even have to move, right? You can stay right where you are and just go across the river to play in MSG. Bro, a guard rotation of Deuce, Cam Thomas, Jose Alvarado, Tyler Kolek, and Brunson. Show me a better guard rotation in the NBA. I don't see it. I'm sorry. It's championship. Yeah. All right, man. Let's get to the closing thoughts. My closing thoughts. Appreciate y'all so much for being a part of us, for getting us over 400 people every show. That first show we did, we had damn near 700. You guys are hitting the views over 1,000, 1,500 views on the YouTube pages. We really, really, really appreciate it. We're really trying to grow this channel. All of us are locked in and committed on helping out boss man Jay Ellis, our brother, on making his dream come true. He's one of the smartest, most passionate Black American entrepreneurs that I know, and it's an honor for me to be able to help him and be a part of his channel and help him grow and see his dreams. And Fritz is my brother in arms too, man. One of the smartest people I also know. Just a capologist, but also I think he has a really good understanding of how the league works and the machinations of the league from a financial perspective, and actually understands the CBA, which keeps us honest while delivering fire takes. So again, I thank you so much for tuning in, and I really hope you enjoy the content and enjoy the show. Last words, Fritz?
Yeah, the second half of the season is pretty much is going to start. This is the stretch run. I think we're equipped. We're kind of equipped. We have what we need for a championship. Mike Brown basically has a guard rotation that he's not going to have to really press anybody to play a lot of minutes. Like if someone's starting the game a little off, he has options. He has a lot of options right now. So like this is really nice to see that Mike Brown has a lot of options. We're not going to go into the playoff like previous years where our guys were very, very tired. I think we're ready for a stretch run.
I agree. Follow me on Twitter @_Lee Escobedo, or follow and follow the KOT Show on Twitter @the KOT Show, TheKOTSHOW, also on Instagram. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. The best thing you can do isn't even spending any of your money. The best thing you can do is just hitting the subscribe to this channel to help us grow our audience. We got 9K about a month ago. We're really trying to hit 10K in the year 2026, and we're on our way. We're getting new subscribers every time we do a show. We got subscribers from last night's post game as well, and I wasn't on it. There's someone on this channel for everybody. Hate my face, hate my voice, hate me. There's 7 other people that you might end up finding is like-minded and on your level. But hey, maybe you love me too. Maybe I'm your favorite KOT member. What can I say? I wouldn't blame you. You know what I mean? Listen, there's someone here for everybody. Also, make sure you follow Fritz @FritzHandles on Twitter and YouTube.com/NBA Economy. Also follow the NBA Economy handle and Fritz Alessandor. Fritz Handles on Twitter. He's one of the best guys out there, one of the smartest, most rational voices on Twitter as well, man. So please subscribe, support us. We're young American entrepreneurs trying to make something with our passions for this team that we absolutely love. All right, we appreciate you, and don't forget, man. Let me get my Jay Ellis on. Remember, it's a mess out here in these streets.
Shout out the World Wide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
Listen. We'll see you post-game tomorrow after the Detroit Pistons for 9 in a row. Let's go! 9 in a row, baby. We're going to beat the Pistons. And I'm going to be here post-game and talk about it, all right? Be safe. Lift up Ebony and be in prayer. And we will see y'all later, all right? Much love, everyone. Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.